Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today. This is the Crown Jewel report. Honestly, I know that I am, I believe, 2 days late at this point. I did not have my WWE calendar set correctly, and I honestly thought the Crown Jewel was going to be going down on Saturday. It actually ended up being on Friday while I was at work. This show started at 11. I honestly don't know when it ended, but by the time I got home at roughly 3 o'clock, there was already reports all over Twitter, but just basically saying everything that happened. I wanted to check out this show. I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I didn't watch the whole show, but I did want to see, basically how the feel of the show was, just everything that went down, what it looked like. I wanted to see what Shawn Michaels was going to be like. I wanted to see what the feel of the show was. I know last time they were in Saudi Arabia for the world's greatest Royal Rumble, it seems like the fans were sitting out there on couches around the ring. It looked like the fans were really enjoying what they see. I don't know really what kind of live shows go to Saudi Arabia, but for the WWE to go there, I'm sure it must be a big deal. But if this is the second time they're going there in only a few matter of months, and this is a 10-year deal, I thought I was wondering how long before this just becomes WWE came to town once again. I mean, it's not like WWE really goes into a lot of the markets more than 2 times a year, unless it's a really, really big market and they're going there with really big shows that are able to support the people going out there and buying tickets to go to these things. I thought that honestly the biggest thing that went down on this show would have to be the Universal title change, basically with Brock Lesnar beating Braun Strowman. I honestly was really surprised. I thought that this was a match basically just to give the title to Braun, have him start his push as being a big baby face on Monday Night Raw, setting up a match between him and McIntyre, maybe matches between him and Ziggler, and just getting the cart on the track and going down the road. This might not be the road that they want to be on, but at least it's the road that they're on. I immediately started wondering, was this the plan if Roman didn't go out the way he did? What was the original plan for this show? Was Roman just going to beat Brock as well as Braun and show that he is the biggest giant, I guess you can say, in WWE? And, that's what the plan was. I'm not 100% sure. But the match was fast. It was a lot like the match that they had last year. I'm not sure if it was a Battleground, but they had a singles match. And the match ended with an F5 just out of the middle of nowhere. And I was sort of surprised that Braun was undefeated for so long and lost that way. I know that there was a big attack early. There was a lot of F5s. But I honestly was really surprised that the match was the way it was. And now I'm wondering, is the storyline for WWE going to be that Braun is going to have this 2.5-year long story of trying to be the guy to beat Brock, only to not be able to do it? So, that's basically the same story that they did with Roman. I hope that we don't see the same story again, but, who knows what it could be. The main event of the show ended up seeing Shawn Michaels make his return to wrestling. He's been gone for years, since the match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. I'm not going to come out and say that I didn't want Shawn to come back because of that. I was at his last match that happened, but that was a really special moment, and I'm really surprised that Shawn would come back and wrestle again after holding out for so many years. But then again, maybe it's just in his blood with him having his job, helping out at the Performance Center with the NXT kids, and just knowing that he really could get in there. But I'll tell you one thing, the first thing that I saw when he took that cowboy hat and that freshly shaved head, this dude's old. This dude's really old. I mean, this is a guy that I can remember wrestling with Marty Jannetty as a member of the Rockers back in the, I want to say the early 90s, but it might even have been in the late 80s. When I first saw Shawn Michaels wrestle for the first time. And here we are in 2018, main eventing a show with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker, and Kane. no way I ever would have thought we'd seen this. I'm just amazed. Shawn was the best guy out of all of them. Triple H got injured early, and he was trying to fight off the fact that he didn't want anybody to know that he was hurt. He went along with the match the way that you know that Triple H would do. He's gotten through just about every injury that there ever could be inside of a ring. Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is the match between him and Batista. The injury that the WWE is claiming is that it's a pec tear. I don't know how long that takes to come back. I know that, when it happened to John Cena, back in the day with the SummerSlam match against Batista, I believe that was the same injury at the same time. He came back at the Royal Rumble. So September, October, November, December, January. It was 5 months that he was out. So now here we are in November, December, January, February, March. Maybe. Just maybe. Triple H ain't no spring chicken, but he's not a guy that's going to take the rehab laying down, but at the same time, he's got a lot of day-to-day, operations that he's got to do for WWE as well as NXT. He can't really just say, I'm going to take the next 5-6 months off, go down to, Alabama, get worked on by Dr. Andrews, get into a ring and start, getting ready to go just so I can have a match at WrestleMania. He's got a lot on his plate right now, so we don't really know if this is going to happen. The whole, World Cup situation, there was good matches. I honestly was surprised that they had Jeff Hardy lose in the first round. I was even more surprised that they had Miz beat Rey Mysterio. But then again, with the finish of Shane McMahon coming and taking over the SmackDown spot with Miz being injured and not being able to wrestle. We'll have to see what this does. I know that it's setting up Survivor Series. Could they be setting up, a Shane McMahon heel turn where basically he just gets drunk with power, basically thinks that he's the best wrestler in the world, and somebody on SmackDown has to step up to the plate and sit him down. We've already seen Shane versus AJ once at WrestleMania. I don't really see them doing that match again, especially even if it is for the WWE Championship. So I'm not really quite sure where this is going to go, but maybe Shane's storyline is that he's just going to put that World Cup trophy to be the best in the world on the line in a singles match, or maybe even in the men's tag match. Maybe that's just where they're going. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe match was honestly very physical. It was a really good match. But then again, when guys fight 3 times and this is the 4th match for the championship, it sort of loses its appeal. Honestly, in my mind, they need to go out there and knock it out of the park on the first match. If there's a title change, then I'm intrigued to come back for a rematch. But when the same guy wins and wins and wins, it doesn't make the rematch have any value to me. I didn't watch the New Day versus Cesaro Sheamus tag match. I skipped over that. And honestly, the Hulk Hogan thing, it's pretty cool to see him back in WWE. But he didn't really do anything. Nothing really happened. It's just, I think they found a neutral spot to bring him in where people wouldn't boo him. And I'm hoping that this is going to make them want to bring him in somewhere in the United States. And hoping that, WWE fans who watch WWE pay-per-views will think that he didn't get booed at Crown Jewel, so we shouldn't boo him here in Chicago or something like that. So we'll see what goes down, but that was Crown Jewel. We'll look over this over the history of time. Honestly, had a really cool set. Honestly, had a really cool feel to the show. But honestly, I was sort of surprised at some things, but at the end of the day, I didn't think it was a great show, if that makes any sense. But hey, I got my $10 worth on the WWE Network, so who am I to complain?